You're wait. It means you're around smarter people and you're in smarter circles and you hear better things. Like the idea people who go to Harvard are smarter is because they're around smarter people. It's not maybe the teaching's better.
What does this have to do with the tweet that she sent out?
Wait, no, you're calling her. No, you're questioning us, calling her stupid. She is stupid. All right, go for it. Okay,
no, all that happened was she's like, hey, fucking friend of mine or cousin's friend or whatever, like. Her cousin may not be a smart person. She heard from her cousin, hey, this dude got swollen balls. Her reciting that to Twitter is not like this insanely mind-numbingly stupid thing. It's stupid to us because we know that's not a real thing. It's stupid to people who actually research this because they've never seen that in their life. That's not a real thing. But like if someone said that to me and I'm like politically deaf, I would just be like, fuck, that's weird. I don't know if I want to get the vaccine.
She made way more tweets than the one about the balls that were really fucking stupid.
I said isolated to this. I very much said that. So if you want to go further than
Yeah,
that,
and that tweet itself was like incredibly like crazy. She was implying that like she's like skeptical about getting the vaccine because her sister's cousin in like some other country, I don't remember the name of the country, I think it starts with a T, like got like swollen balls and like couldn't get their dick hard, and that because of this you should be hesitant and you should not be bullied into getting the vaccine, and that you should pray to God so that you make the right decision. Like
she loaded the tweet. She loaded.
I might have not seen the whole
I'm not even. I'm being slightly hyperbolic, but like not really. Like, that's basically the tweet. Like
it's like I'm sorry.
She loaded it.
I'm gonna hop in on this. This is absolutely ridiculous. Swollen balls from taking the vaccine. There's never been a symptom that ever showed that people get swollen balls from taking the vaccine. Not one time.
Oh, shit.
And the fact that she even put that out into the sphere when you know damn well she's got good doctors that she can go to, and a lot of people don't. She's poisoning the well. This is damaging to getting people vaccinated that need the vaccination. Sorry, I'm a little irritated about this shit. My daughter just got tested for COVID today and came back positive because of a bunch of knuckleheads in Arizona that won't get their vaccinations and won't force mask mandates in the schools. So, yeah, I think people pushing this shit are stupid. And you know what? I'm so sick of the misinformation being put out. It's ridiculous. It's damaging to society. All we're doing is hurting each other. And when are we going to stop hurting each other? That's what. And she's doing the same thing. She's doing that.
Itty bitty. I'm not sure if you got a chance to go before, but then we'll go to valency after that.
Yeah. Well, the point I'd like to bring up the Wall Street Journal did a 3-part series recently, I think, to kind of speaks to this. What we're talking about celebrities being on social media platforms. There's I'll put a link in VC chat again. I encourage you all to read it. But the first one talks about that Facebook documents reveal secret elite exempt from its rules. They have something called X check, and there's a white list of these celebrities that are on this. That when they're on Facebook and Instagram, they're not held to the same standards as everybody else. So maybe something you might post about, say, like COVID or whatever, like the example they use in this case in one of the stories in international soccer star Neymar, he showed nude photos of a woman who had accused him of rape to tens of millions of his fans before the content was removed from Facebook. And the reason why it took so long is that he was on this protection. He was one of these elites. So people like Nicki Minaj, now I know Twitter is not owned by Facebook, but if they're posting things on other platforms, this could be maybe part of the reason why they're able to get that kind of information out there.
So I have no idea what you're talking about. But wait. I'm gonna make a really big guess. Facebook has whitelist for big celebrities, not because they're fetishizing. It's probably because people like that get mass reported all the time, and so they do. And for most people, you get reported a couple times and they pull your shit. But if you're Nicki Minaj or you're some massive celebrity, they probably don't want you to just get your account booted all the time because people are mass reporting you, so they put you on a whitelist. I'm not sure. Maybe there's some conspiratorial whitelist that like they're not held to the same standards or whatever. When it
Well, it's
comes
not
to like spreading
conspiratorial. They
misinformation.
actually have the documents. There was actually there's a
Well, why
whistleblower.
they
Yeah,
have?
what I'm saying is like the reason the whitelist exists is probably like purely functional and isn't because like they're like playing favorites or something like that.
Well, they even said, yeah, there's in the article they bring up that their ability to monitor the whole platform because they have billions of users is a difficult one.
But what about this list would restrict the amount of people who were going to see her tweet? Like these don't.
Well, not her tweet. I tried to make that clear. I'm not talking about her platform on Twitter. I'm talking about we're talking about celebrities, and I'm just saying this is one case where Facebook and Instagram are using this X check to put celebrities.
I followed you everywhere, and then at the end you said maybe if they didn't have things like this list, so many people wouldn't have saw her tweet.
Well, because Twitter's got similar practices, I'm sure.
Well, if I said
regardless of the list, a lot of people are going to see her tweet. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, well, it's not because this X check is not associated with Twitter. So if I said Twitter at the end of my statement, I misspoke and I meant to say on platforms like Facebook and Instagram, or those two, because that affects it. That's all. I was just bringing this up. It's not. I'm not really trying to debate it or anything. It's just as a point to the conversation.
Yeah, gotcha. No problem. I was just trying to clarify. Cool.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I just wanted to say, regardless of the list, just calling this woman stupid or anything is irrelevant. I think we shouldn't just even guess if someone is intelligent just because they are around intelligent people or not. I feel like this is a slippery slope. The other slippery slope is the fact that we are just calling someone who's a celebrity dumb or not, or like debating that. That just doesn't matter. We shouldn't even call people names. What we should do is deplatform them, even celebrities. And if they can, what are they doing? Like shit at cab, cry, yeah, leave. Deplatform them. They can go to the Parler platform where they can get spammed old men's skin
Do you know why Instagram got big?
Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's because of celebrities, right? And you allow the celebrities. Some celebrities are pro-vaccines based. They can stay. They cannot. They leave. Easy. It's simple, right? Not all celebrities are anti-vaccine.
So all celebrities with vaccine hesitance should be deplatformed from our platform.
Yeah, definitely. Joe Rogan too. Based. If they cannot cry, they cry, right? Because they need the celebrities. What do you need? Based. Amazing.
I like this guy.
Wait,
I never said that.
really? I think it was,
Yeah.
Where are y'all from?
Hey,
Valencia, bring it.
Easy.
all right, to respond, I think it would be fine. I think it would be fine to deplatform them or ban them if they violated TOS. But I'm not sure if Nicki Minaj specifically did by telling possibly a true story. This possibly could be true, or slightly she could have just heard secondhand poorly, like a game of telephone. This person could have swollen balls, got a COVID shot, doesn't have his dick working, and then got annulled or divorced, or whatever.
Understandable. Okay, have a nice day. It's even then.
But
it's
people
the terms of service is very very strict. Okay, it's yeah.
But Mike Lindell, who's knowingly, purposely spreading misinformation just to self-improve himself or personal gain. That is people we should deplatform.
Should we stop?
Yeah, definitely, sure, of course.
Hey,
yes,
Augie,
I don't.
Should we stop at deplatforming, or should we do more things to these people?
Just kill him.
More
think-
platforming. The thing is with
It's
Nikki was reaching a conclusion with the vaccines. I need to do more research. She was definitely just she was.
So you would
that's fine.
deplatform her with anything else happen? Or just
What do you mean?
deplatform?
I would be okay if
no,
a sponsor dropped her or
Hold on, wait. I'm
something.
just trying to ask him a question. We've had so many wild people on here.
Your volume.
Some people think
Sorry.
you should go to jail for murder.
Yeah.
So I'm just trying to figure out where are you on the spectrum of craziness, right? So So first off, if you disagree with them on the vaccine, they have to be deplatformed. I'm just wondering, would you go further than that?
Yeah, here is the thing. Twitter is not the government. Twitter is a private, amazing company, right? And it's simple. It's with your terms of services, make it okay, if you're even vaccine hesitant, you just go away. It's simple. There is other platforms you can use. and like enjoy them. And I know they are monopolized, which is based, right? That's amazing if you monopolize progressivism, right? And if they fail, they fail. Well, that's fine. Yeah, they have no way to voice their opinion, and let them have their platforms, and they get shit on and spam. That's easy.
Progressive. Wow, I can't say
Bias?
this. So no. So progressivism to you is if you don't agree with somebody's point, change your TOS to specifically target them to ban them off the platform.
Yes.
Prime.
Yes.
Prime,
Okay.
You need to stop reaching into this
He's
bucket.
Stupi's friend.
No, not even then. It's like
No, it makes
like progressivism
Doobie,
has nothing to do with free speech, right? Like you have to realize free speech is not just like all speech, right? If free speech is harming you or harming your society, like literally we had Jason here.
No, I was just asking about your
yeah, definitely. I mean, I do not consider people who are anti-vaccine have the right to even speak, right? Simple. Mm-hmm. Because they harm society. Mm-hmm.
You're authoritarian then.
No.
What are you?
We're
talking about
free speech in Canada, right?
Talking about Twitter. It's not authoritarian for Twitter to just be like, fuck off.
Twitter is a private
He just stated people who are vaccine hesitant shouldn't have the right to speak.
I think
personally,
that's a very authoritarian take.
it would be authoritarian to say if you're vaccine hesitant, we're either going to force it or you're going to go to prison. That would be authoritarian. He's saying deplatform off Twitter.
So my critique of this.
You're just using a buzzword. Shut up.
My critique of this is that it may not be good to completely deplatform them altogether, because people have already seen it, and the people that are fans are going to buy into what that person's saying. I think the better alternative to do is to provide fact checks within the context of the post and say, okay, so this is what they said as a platform. This is what we know is accurate and inaccurate about what they said. And allow that. And I'm a strong believer in putting disclaimers out. And, there's ways to give people the right to say their piece while still saying they're full of shit. Like, you can do both, and I think that's a good way to go about it. Then, yeah, sure. Okay. Say whatever you want. But you know what? We're going to tell you and everybody else that looks at this post, you're full of shit.
Okay. I like this. I like this compromise, but we have to understand this compromise happens when we are like shitting on clowns, like neo-Nazis, for example, or when these actual people are harming people by not taking the vaccines, right? Mm-hmm. So we need to do some authoritative shit to actually.
Oh wait, you think Nazism is bad?
What?
You think Nazism is bad, right?
Yeah, of course.
And
what is this question?
From Doobie server, which has Nazism in it?
No, I don't come from Doobie servers. I'm Doobie's friend. That's different.
Oh, okay, got you. Okay.
Yeah. I am actually very progressive. What the fuck? I am Syrian. How dare you call me? Nazis called us animals. How dare you? How dare you? Allah al-Azim.
Wait, I wasn't saying you were a Nazi. I was gonna ask. I was gonna ask how do you square being a part of the server with.
No. I like politics. Look. I like Dewey. Dewey is a very nice person, right? Like if you actually talk to them, he's a very nice person. He's like a family guy. Okay. Yeah. He made me lose my religion. He talked to me. He's like a big brother to me. Okay.
Okay.
And my future husband. Okay.
Future husband.
All right, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I would like to just try to move this back a bit to like generality of most singers. I think we can understand that like they're just like social icons and they're good to their craft of making music, right? But I think there's a major difference between like those who are the saints, believing the stuff that Nicki Minaj has done, to those who are go and listen to people like Dexter Holland from Offspring. I think the major difference between two of them is that one of them is a singer and one of them has a PhD in microbiology and also is a lead singer in a band called Offspring. And I think we can understand that much of that difference, that we could probably trust someone who has an academic area of study that would explain much of these issues and saying which one's correct or not, compared to just singers in general. Yeah, we can all agree that Nicki Minaj for sure is in the wrong here for mentioning all that, but making her shut up or putting her in jail for or like these views, I think is very arbitrary. I think enough scrutiny she's getting right now is probably enough.
Tell them to pay
Anyone else?
attention. Stop
Yeah, I
talking
don't
about
know,
Marvel movies.
Deplatforming people off of even opinions I disagree with sounds always cool until it's like, I don't know. I think it's very easy to point to like straight up misinformation, but then when it starts to get blurred into like a shitty anecdote, because like that story probably did happen. Like he had swollen balls. Her cousin told her that. That's all true, and he did get the vaccine. The problem is like, it's so clearly it's irresponsible, is what it is, because she's making a medical recommendation off of this anecdote. And that's where it's like it gets from being like, oh, I'm a little hesitant about the vaccine, but like you have an audience now, like it's not good. Just because it's like you're spreading your medical not because that's not even an opinion. I don't know. It gets weird because it's not she didn't even necessarily say don't get it. She said like don't let people bully you into it. But it's like I don't know. I kind of I'm unsure only about that part, just specifically on the deplatforming thing, because I'm not completely close to it. But how do you like make it consistent?
I mean, but the implication is like, and like not to say in terms of like making rules for this, it could be difficult, but the implication is clearly there that like she believes this story about said friend who is vaccine hesitant, and that that like you should probably take like the fact that there are like the swollen balls could be a side effect into consideration, which I would say is like, and when you say she's implying that, you could say that's misinformation for sure.
Yeah, that's true. But like, how small of misinformation is enough to do that? Because like the problem is that she's just sharing a no, I guess just sharing a story would be
but
less.
So like, does everybody know the Cookie Monster thing, where like Cookie Monsters represent like Jews in ovens, and it gets really fucked, and it's like, and it's like, oh my god, like I don't actually think the Holocaust was fake, but have you seen the numbers? Like, there's a lot of stuff like that that's like, you can imply misinformation like pretty easily.
Oh yeah, revisionism is misinformation. Yes, revisionism is definitely misinformation, and it should be banned. We actually ban it on CC. Like it's very very important. Like if you do not actually like do not accept the facts, you cannot be allowed in our server. Like especially with Holocaust denial, for example, which is like very important to remember.
Can you send me an invite?
Claro, of course, definitely. Join the Calliopean Club, by the way. Okay.
Exclamation point Eris in chat.
Oh, he's from Eris's community. Yo, I love
I am an admin there.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta talk to Eris. Let me get that changed. Hold on. Let me shoot her a message real quick.
Yeah, exclamation point Eris right there if you want to be part of the crowd.
All right.
Is where Valency is from.
No, I know Eris. Eris is dope. Eris is a really dope person.
Eris is cool.
I'd like to add something. I thought it was interesting that this whole Nicki Minaj incident on Twitter garnered a response for the White House offering to call her and to discuss vaccine safety. So even the White House got into this whole thing. So that's how far up and how influential she could be.
Then they lied and said they didn't call her. That's the full story. Yeah.
They said they lied?
No, they called her and then they lied and they said
No, they said they said they offered to call her.
No, but before
okay.
That's after she went live and said they're lying. Yeah.
Okay.
The whole back and forth.
I don't know. Who knows the timeline of that? Sorry.
Who cares about celebrity drama, really?
I read up on it because
that was the topic.
No, good for you, Gambit. That's good.
We have a new person. Do you mind to speak? New person?
Mr. Marks.
I'm an OG. What you mean?
Oh, hey.
Oh,
Nice to see you.
man, we haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
What's up?
What's up,
Mark,
man?
change your name, Mark.
Are y'all?
Why you have a picture of Oliver Cromwell? Cromwell.
It's Irene Descartes. How do you pronounce his name? Descartes. I know what I
Descartes?
can't pronounce his name. Descartes. Yeah, the philosopher.
Oh,
Curtis.
discard. It looks.
Fucking heathen.
Sorry.
Couldn't even say the name. Kick all the heathen over that.
Renee
It's
Descartes,
really,
yeah.
it's really nice to hear from you, buddy. Like, I've been wondering what happened to you. I hope you're safe. You graduated,
Oh.
right?
Yeah.
Cool.
That,
I've been touching grass recently.
Well, then you're not of our people anymore.
Yeah, and you know, see y'all talking about like the Nicki Minaj thing.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yep.
I
Okay.
mean,
Are you talking about like
about that?
anti-vax in general? Because I heard of it.
Kind of
Wait,
both.
you think
It's
she's
all connected.
anti-vax?
Oh, it's tied. Okay, so let me tell you the correct thing. As a person that's touched grass, we're fucked. That's the thing. All this like educating like anti-vaxxers, but that's not gonna work. It's never worked. You know, they already tried doing that on Instagram. I'm not trying to shit on anybody. I'm just so black-pilled on this. We already tried doing this on like apps on like Instagram, to where if you post like anything that leads to like conspiracy stuff, they'll have like a CDC thing article. You know, it's never happened in the history of ever. Somebody who's like an anti-vaxxer or who's like kind of like conspiracy minded and clicked on they clicked on one of those articles, read the full thing, was like, oh, that makes sense, and then they changed their. That's never fucking happened. If you're like anti-vaxxer, you're like distrustful of government, or just anti-hesitant, a logical argument isn't going to convince you. I think, like unironically, like when you're on this like platform, we all, even people who have radically different opinions on here, we all have like an incentive to try to make the most rational argument we can to try to come out as good as we can. Like people, just in general, don't think like that. They don't attempt to make like a rational thought in their head, or think in their head like, does A plus B equal C? Like, it's not going to happen. I'm
So
sorry.
Nicki
I'm so
Minaj
black-pilled
is
on
fully
this.
irrational, right? That's what you're saying.
No, I'm not going to say people are fully irrational, because that's a bit too
No, I
radical. But I'm saying that people don't attempt in the same way that we do to make a rational
But
argument.
we're the elite. We here on
We're not.
Twitch are
No,
the
we're
elite.
not elite. We just have an incentive to even attempt to do it. Like, I'm not
This
even
is
going to say that
communist rhetoric.
my spiel right now was completely rational, or was like a philosopher take, right? But if you're on this platform, this is like a debate type platform, we have an incentive to.
Yeah, yeah.
But she has no incentive to, you know.
No, if you're
Yeah.
just working your regular job and you see like a
Oh, she's just
Instagram,
working a regular
yeah,
job.
if you're just like in like a regular job and you open Instagram and you see some like anti-vax like cringe like a photo, something like that, you don't have like an incentive to like think about this like sorry, some
So-
She
all
like,
of
she
them
doesn't
are
have a
rational
regular
thing.
job.
Wait,
She doesn't.
wait.
No,
No, I'm
he's
not
talking
talking-
about
so-
someone
wait,
who
I'm sorry.
was viewing
This
Twitter.
isn't-
and
No, yeah,
scrolls
I'm not
through.
talking about Nicki Minaj. I'm talking about like just a random like
So
distrustful
you think a
person.
random person just is fully irrational and there's no way they could
No,
ever
I
fucking-
literally I said that a couple seconds ago. I don't.
No,
I
you
say-
said if you're a person that works a regular job and you see a random anti-vax thing, they're definitely gonna be fooled by it.
No, I said that if you're already like conspiracy minded, you're already like
What
vaccine
is
hesitant.
conspiracy minded? How would one know if somebody was
Conspiracy minded and
minded?
thinking that the vaccine is like a government ploy to like microchip people, like the same shit. You know what I'm talking about, like 9/11 shit, like all that.
There'd be like a lot
But-
of predisposition.
Yeah, you're predisposed. That's the correct word.
I'm
If
a
you're
reformed
predisposed to that
conspiracy
type of
theorist.
stuff,
I feel you.
Sure,
don't-
but I imagine there's like
I
a
couldn't
lot
have been
of
broken
people-
at the
I imagine
time.
there's a
There was no
large
way.
audience of-
You're right. You're absolutely right. When I was in deep to all that shit, none of those things would have swayed me, because I would have been like, no,
Oh,
that's
but
just
you
the
got
government.
out.
That's just the government.
But
Yeah,
are you
so-
still that way?
Well, I think that
Oh,
like
I'm
there's
not that way
obviously
at all
always gonna
anymore.
be-
I
You're
actually
not
like
that way at all.
no.
Oh, so you read factual information and it changed your opinion.
Yeah,
So
but I
because
didn't
Daddy
read that
Mark said it's
information.
impossible.
that has to
I didn't
come
read
from
that
the person.
information on an Instagram post about something I was reading that was a conspiracy theory thing. I talked to people that I knew that were in certain specialty fields where I thought there was conspiracies, and they were able to break down scientifically how that's not even freaking possible on some levels. And then the more I dug into it and kept doing my own research, I kept finding myself spinning in circles and never getting any real concrete evidence of any of these conspiracies. But I had to go through it for long enough for me to realize it's all bullshit, because it's just a spiral staircase that leads to nowhere, because there's no smoking gun. There's never any like real evidence of anything.
No, what
I forgot,
what
Gavin.
conspiracy did you get talked out of, Augie? Or no, you don't have it.
Dolphin.
No, that's
Jason
not
Society?
Jason,
Me?
right? Jason.
Jason Society. Yeah.
So the big one was 9/11, because I was a big time 9/11 truther.
Oh, okay.
And I talked to some structural engineers that I knew about the melting point
Jet
of
fuel doesn't
steel and the
melt.
jet fuel and all that stuff, and they're like, it's just, there's no possible way. And he broke it down to me in a very scientific way, in a way that made it very easy to understand. He had to spend a lot of time talking with me about it, though. Like I didn't change overnight, you know. He repeatedly, I would post some of this crazy conspiracy theory shit, and he'd go and he'd post shit contradictory in my posts. And because he was somebody that I knew whose opinion mattered to me, I listened to him. But to Marx's point, even though I earlier said maybe that's a way, putting the disclaimer in the post, he's got a point. I didn't listen to that shit. I didn't care. It took somebody that I knew having to refute everything I was saying, and for me to have to go dig further for me to change.
You didn't have that, right?
No, at that time there wasn't quite that, but there was like people putting there were people putting out countervailing arguments all the time in the media and in other groups that I was in. It just wasn't officially the platform doing it. I don't think it would have changed my mind though. I really don't. I think you have to have somebody that you're a little bit closer to that can get to you, that you trust, that changes your mind. I don't necessarily think that automation will do it.
So you'd have to have somebody that wouldn't threaten your worldview inherently in an approach.
Yeah. And my thing on the vaccine mandate, I don't want to be too authoritarian on it. I think as long as it's constitutional, because I'm not gonna lie, I don't know too much about how constitutional it is. I'm pretty sure already jobs can request your medical information and ask if you're vaccinated. That's as far as I'd go with it. Just make sure that businesses are able, if you're an employee, businesses are able to deny you a job if you're vaccinated.
So
but
businesses should be able to deny you based off parts.
No. If you want to become an employee, not if you want to if you want to become a grocery store. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So you think it would be a good idea if businesses could request your medical history and say, "Hey, I'm denying you because of something in your medical history."
If you didn't get the vaccine, yeah.
You should make it even on a federal level, not just.
No.
You definitely should. You definitely should. You should even pressure companies to do that.
Have you ever applied for a job and they asked you for your medical history?
No. Well, I just
but you think they should do that, right?
If you work with kids.
Oh, no, because I really just did a couple of months ago. I'm trying to remember. I might.
You didn't. They did.
Wait, they eventually do your health
submit to a drug test. If you submit to a drug test, you're providing health information.
No, I'm not. It might be. Wait, guys, because it may be different for me because I work in a federal building. I'm trying to remember because they asked me for a whole bunch of shit. They actually might have.
Your medical history. No, they didn't.
Hold on.
They should.
I'm pretty sure they can't ask for extensive medical histories, but I'm pretty sure they can ask for vaccination records.
They can ask if you.
That's a thing that can be asked for.
They can ask if there's anything that prevents you from lifting a 40-pound box over your head, not something super in depth.
Yeah, Fanatic. Why'd I call you Fanatic? Gambit. If you're talking about a fucking sheet of paper of everything, my full medical history, then yeah, probably not. But as far as if I'd be comfortable giving private businesses that power, yeah, I don't see why not. Even
proof of vaccine. Yeah, proof of your vaccine.
Well, I know.
Well, Gambit. I want to argue Gambit. Why do you think that's a bad idea?
Y'all this is like a Sam Harris take. Y'all have become the mother lode of bad ideas today. What is?
Wait, I want to hear your argument.
What's the bad part about it? You have to explain what.
I don't want it federally mandated. I don't want to get too. I don't mind private businesses.
I'm trying to answer your question, right? The idea that we should embrace or imbue companies with the ability to discriminate based off past medical history.
They can already do this. They can already do this.
No,
I mean,
hospitals require their
even if it exists.
Hospitals require employees to get vaccines. Hospitals require employees to get flu shots.
Don't minimize the hospital.
I'm just saying they're a private organization. So yes, they do, and yes, that is a thing that a business could do already. They're already doing it.
I'm gonna repeat my statement again. The idea. What did I say? The idea that we should imbue or socially accept, I can't remember what I said earlier, businesses doing this is asinine. Like, this is absolutely stupid.
Well, what I'm saying is like some businesses,
I want to hear because I think there's a slippery.
Hospital workers, teachers. I'm pretty sure like flight attendants and stuff like this.
I just as a docent, I volunteered as a docent.
Yeah, listen to me. Like that. I'm generally curious because you just said that's asinine. Please, like, provide like why, please.
Why y'all cut me off and then y'all cut me off again? Yeah, the idea that we should allow discriminatory practices based off medical history, like the idea that we should embrace that for like jobs that are like outside of hospitals and stuff like that is ludicrous. Like it can only
why not? If the private business, in my opinion, if the private, oh, go ahead, keep going. I want to cut you off.
Bad outcomes. Like,
okay, I just wanted to say, you know what? Just when I became, I was trying to become a.
Embrace people that look like me and you, Daddy Marks, don't come out on the good end of these things.
Wait, but people like this, like private businesses, already discriminate whether they want to or not. Whether they have that personal bias or not, they can already deny you the job. They don't really have to give a reason.
Even if they have the power today, that doesn't mean it's socially accepted and they would wield it.
Socially accepted, they're not scrutinized for it because they don't have to.
I want to
display
interject
it.
and just say that I just was trying to become a docent. I did become a docent, and I had to give up my fingerprints, and then I had to provide them with evidence that I had certain shots because I'm going to work with children. So it's on the same principle that of course I would do that so that I can protect that group of people. So if you're talking about being in a pandemic, then certainly the same thing should happen. That it's not about whether the business is privately owned or whether it's a government service. It's the service that it's rendering, and it's the people and whether they'll be exposed or whether there's a risk. And there should be some degree of regulation with it, at least until they get a vaccine. If people don't like to be regulated, but you got to go through it. You can't go around it, you know?
And I want to point out that it touches every industry, though. Because think about this. Do you want people unvaccinated, unmasked, preparing your food? They're touching your food. Like, this food is going to go into your body. Do you not think that the virus can transmit?
Wait. Stop this stupid shit. Don't ask me a question and then try to answer it how the fuck you want it to be answered. So first off, I'm a big fan of mask mandates. I don't give a fuck about the vaccination status of the person fixing my food. I do care if they're wearing masks.
No, but Gambit, to your thing about like discrimination, Gambit, like your whole thing, like us being like black and all that, like the job that I just applied to, if he wanted to, if he had like some type of racial bias, he could have just said, yeah, I'm not accepting you because I don't think you're qualified, and he could have just kept that racial bias. You can so like wait, let me finish, please. But like, if we just gave businesses the power to like discriminate based on medical history, I'm sure that's another thing they could use to deny people based off of whatever internal bias they want to. But they can already do that. It wouldn't give them any more like discriminatory power inherently. They can already deny you without any like valid reason.
But the more amount of barriers that we put in place are only going to be like
injurious. Like how? It makes no difference. Literally all they have to say is that I don't think you're qualified. End of story.
Giving people more avenues to discriminate against you is a power.
What else are you gonna say? Like I said, all they have to say is I don't think you're qualified, and there's literally nothing you could do. They already have the power. There's no more power you can give them.
But now in your world, they can also say, "Hey, you've had sickle cell, and we don't like people that have."
Sure, but that doesn't have.
Wait, I thought what he was asking for was just the vaccine. Like, hey, you have to have the vaccine, not your entire medical history.
That's what we're talking about.
This is starting a very big bad
You're using a slippery slope fallacy.
No, I'm not. Y'all didn't listen to the fucking question. I shut the fuck up and let me talk, dumbasses. I asked him. I said, "Do you think that a company should be able to discriminate based off your medical history?" That's what we asked. That was the question.
In this specific scenario, yes.
No,
I think I don't think we can. We can't. We can't. It's a civil right, I believe.
I didn't say
you can't discriminate based on medical history.
You kind of can, but you have to have a reason to. That's how like the equal opportunity law. So like if you want to discriminate based on vaccination history, you have to like present a reason why that you think that employee should be vaccinated.
I don't want my other employers to die. What the fuck?
There's no like additional powers being granted to anybody. Like these are things that can already be done. and that already doesn't
Wait,
mean
it would
anything.
have to be
Us-
like on a case by case
becoming
basis, and
more-
like it would all go through the courts to be decided.
Wait,
I'm sorry, but
not
OSHA's already
necessarily.
doing that. That was in Biden's mandate that he just pushed, so it's already happening
Wait, I can almost
for
guarantee
businesses
someone
over
says
100
too.
people.
All right, listen. There's a difference between saying that something is constitutional or unconstitutional and talking about our readiness to accept businesses doing things. Private businesses can do a bunch of shit, right? And if we become more socially acceptable of more and more things, the power that they have becomes greater because then they're able to wield things that they otherwise wouldn't wield because the American public wouldn't be for it. That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm attacking. So I'm not saying constitutionally can companies do this. I'm saying that if we start to become more and more accepting of these barriers that companies can put in front of people, then that's a power that we're granting.
In this situation, I don't think that's bad.
And they're hurting for workers right now.
Because
No, I agree with-
you
I
could
agree.
argue the same thing in any sense. Like, oh, if you give the government any power, they have more power. Yeah, but I'm okay with giving them this power. That's the whole
Yes,
like
yeah, and
I
that's
think
the
part of
problem.
the discussion.
Well, the alternative is a federal mandate, and you said you don't want that
There's a
either.
lot
So,
of
so
dumb
what's the
people on left
solution?
that say, I agree with it. Yeah, we should grant that power because I agree with it. Yeah, there's a lot of dumb people.
Okay.
Cool.
Then what was the squabble?
So so I think we learned you shouldn't discriminate based on sickle cell disease, but you can discriminate, I think, on vaccines and if you have this specific one with coronavirus. Right? That's cool.
I think pandemics, we need to look at the fact that there are exceptions to the rule in everything. And when we are in a public health crisis, sometimes you have to take measures you wouldn't ordinarily take. And that's just a simple fact of life. Like, we live in a contextual world. Shit changes all the time. And the fact that, like, we want to stalwart a belief and not understand the fact that we have to move and change with what's happening around us is ridiculous. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And not only that, even these, it's not just temporary. I think this mandating the vaccines on like workplaces and employees and whatnot, this should be like mandatory for like forever, not just like this and for all vaccines, right? Should be more, yeah, we should definitely more do that.
I don't even know if that would that stand up in like, are you saying morally or are you saying like legally you want it to be like that?
Both. Yeah, it is definitely moral. Like you don't want your
Yeah, I don't know if
your
that
own
would, I don't know
neighbors,
if that
right?
would stand
The
up for a long period of time.
constitutionality of vaccine mandates was established in a 1905
what I
Supreme Court
needed.
case, so that's already done.
Yeah.
But
That's
as to
not
whether or not,
completely true.
Well,
not
there's-
giving businesses the power is always right, I do have some. I do carry some reservations about that. I think under the circumstances right now, yes. Do I think we should continue that practice as a norm? I think that's to be determined. I don't necessarily know that I would agree with keeping that going forward. But in the midst of a pandemic where we're at right now, yes, absolutely.
So to be clear, there is no precedent for federal vaccine mandates. There's
For
a Supreme
mandates
Court
for
case in
elementary schools.
1905 that gave the state government the power to, I think it was state or city, I think it was both, but state governments the power to mandate a vaccine on its people. But the federal government, as of now, is untested in court.
We do
Well,
have
they're already-
examples of it
they've
with
already
Washington
started
doing it
to-
with smallpox,
to,
though.
Whoa!
It's fair. Washington.
Well,
did it. It's a
Biden's
little
mandate's
further.
already coming up in court. I mean, it's already going to get challenged, and
Yeah.
so, I mean, like you said, Jason, it's Biden's mandate is being pushed through OSHA, so that's how he's getting around a lot.
Mark,
But
I'm sorry.
So I just wanted to.
Yeah, I just want to ask him a question about like how you feel about mandates in like different areas. I'm not trying to equivalate them. Fuck, I can't pronounce that word. But yeah, how do you feel about like vaccine mandates in like the military? I think there was like a recent controversy because like military people had to get the COVID shot. So like, how do you feel about that? Like, do you think that the government shouldn't have that power, or like, what do you mean?
So the government has the power to mandate vaccines. I
Mhm.
think inevitably is always going to.
Hey, Resident Potato, how you
The thing
doing?
is, do we accept certain vaccines on that list? Right. That's the real question. It isn't about the power. The power is there. The thing is, should we be socially accepting of a specific one? Right. That's the true conversation. The conversation is, do they have the power?
I mean, that
Socially
is part of the
accepting of
conversation.
a-
That's why, like, Biden's vaccine mandate's literally going to court, right?
Huh.
Because they're not sure if, like, he has the power to federally, like, unilaterally do this.
I'm not. Could
Yeah,
you
well,
elaborate on like the social part? I'm not sure I know what you mean.
No. So all right. Imagine they can do whatever the hell they want to people in the military, pretty much. Obviously, not everything, right? That's hyperbolic a little bit, but yeah. So imagine there was a vaccine that was developed, but it was something that infects like a very small percent of the population. Like 1% of people are going to come in contact with this disease, right? It's legal for them to say, hey, take this vaccine. The thing is, do we like that? Do we accept that, right? And then that's the real conversation on, hey, do we think this thing should be added to the list? So I would answer your question the same way. Do
Chilling,
I think the government has the right
chilling
to almost
and
do whatever the hell
trolling.
they want medically with people in the
Prime's
military?
channel?
Yes, the answer is yes. I think
Prime's
they have
panel?
the right to do that.
Good times.
Would I accept it in this case? If the reason, it depends on the reason. Well, it doesn't even depend on the reason. No, I wouldn't
Not really
accept it at
trolling,
all.
but
Yeah, I would.
So the social, because I'm still trying to. I understand what you mean, but I don't. I guess I don't. What do you think is so detrimental about the social factor? Because to me, whether the social like factor is like in a negative or positive light, it doesn't give. I don't think it has any weight compared to the power of like the government. So like, what power does the social factor have? Like, I don't get it.
Whether we become socially accepting of something determines whether people use that power, even if they already have the power to do it, right? So Prime has the power to do whatever the hell he wants with his panels, right? But there's like certain agreements that people have that Prime doesn't violate because he's like, this creates a good environment for the people that come on. They like it, I like it, and if I violate it, I can't think of some random thing. I don't know, like after 30 seconds, he kicks you off the panel, right? Prime has the ability to do that. This is Prime's fucking panel. He can do whatever the hell he wants. But if Prime started kicking people out every 30 seconds, people be like, yo, I want to talk actually for more than 30 seconds, right? So if we all were like, no, Prime, that's cool, you can do that, right? It'd be different from all of us saying, no, Prime, that's crazy as shit. Like, don't do that, right? He would still have the power, whether we like it or not. But whether he wields that power in certain situations would be dependent upon how the masses receive it, right? And that's what I'm saying. So I don't feel like this case is something where we
Very
should.
bad analogy.
So do you think? Okay, I think I understand what you mean now. So do you, let's switch a bit. What about like schools? So do you think like the social push we put on like the flu vaccine, right? Do you think that that's warranted or that's
absolutely against? I never get the
you're
flu
at?
vaccine. I'm absolutely against it, for sure.
Okay.
100%. Against mandating it. People that get it, do whatever the hell you
Like
want.
in, I mean, in schools. You said
Yeah, I'm absolutely against it.
Okay. Could you give me the reasons why?
I think so. The flu vaccine, which I think Corona potentially might become, because I think this is going to be endemic. I don't think this is a pandemic that like goes away. But what they do is they look at reported cases in the earlier season in countries, and then they create a vaccine to target like the most popular strains, and then they make a vaccine for that, and then that's what's given as the vaccine. But people still get the flu because there's other strains and everything, blah blah blah. So I don't think the flu vaccine is deadly enough, and I don't engage with stuff like the flu vaccine. I don't think to me it's not useful.
So
are you hesitant about this whole vaccine process then?
No, I'm not hesitant. I just don't think that it's useful for me right now. It's possible that I could die, right? I could get the flu.
Yeah.
I could die from a bunch of stuff.
Could affect others. That's the problem, right?
That's the problem.
I don't give a fuck about what you think or what you feel, or like this is hesitance because you can affect others.
It seems like very hesitant.
I can affect others with the flu too. I can affect others with a bunch of stuff. That doesn't mean that I feel like I'm trapped into getting it.
Marks.
Yeah, so I want to run this down because I've talked to you. You're a pretty reasonable person. I'm not saying you're not, but like So like for the flu vaccine, right? The effectiveness, I actually look it up right now. As far as I can remember, it was like 40% or 30, like somewhere around that range. It's not as high as people think, right? I'll agree with you on there. And I don't know much about like how they analyze the flu, and I'll admit that to you. But as far as like, as long as you don't have premorbidities, I don't see like why not. If it's only 40 or 50% effective, by that it decreases the chances of people getting the shot by that percentage. I don't see like any negative externalities that can come of that, as long as you don't have post-morbidities, which the doctor already assesses before you get that.
Yeah, I'm not. Wait, so it feels like y'all are strawmanning me into this.
I'm not trying to. I'm trying to.
Dangerous about the vaccine. It has less to do with the vaccine. It's more about the thing that we're being vaccinated against, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if the I think the death rate is like 1.8% or 2%, and that's of reported cases, not of like all cases. That's of the reported cases, and then of that, like, so it's like I think it's like 1.8 or 2%, right? Likelihood of death or something like that, and then like of overall the people that get it, like 90, some high 90% are just completely unaffected, right? So looking at that data, I'm like, yo, hey, this is something I don't think I need. You know, if more people, if there's a deadlier strain or something.
Oh, it's okay. I think we have like a totally. You can get in a second. I'm sorry, Augie, but I think we have a totally different method of how we like view diseases in general. To me, I don't look at the lethality rate. Like the reason I got the COVID vaccine, like I'm 18, I'm fine. I know if I get COVID, I'm not gonna die. I'm a pretty healthy person, like I'm totally fine. But the thing is, and you probably already know this, I just don't think you take it into as much consideration as I do. It's just like the spread of it. Like even if COVID is what people claim it is, I think it's like 3%. But let's just say like I'm talking about, like it's like a 1% chance you'll die. Like compare that, and we know like COVID is highly infectious. Like compare that over to like the entire U.S. populace, or in our school example, everybody that's in school. That's millions of people. Like, would you risk like 1% of those millions of people? That's at least like thousands or tens of thousands dead. Did you really like risk those people, those 1%ers dying for something that can be totally avoidable?
Okay, so okay.
Sorry, I don't mean to railroad you. My bad.
It's fine. The death rate is on the confirmed cases. This
Mhm.
thing is high. Like a lot of people are asymptomatic, so the amount of unconfirmed cases will drive the percentage even lower and lower, right? So because of all of that, then I live my life the way I choose to. Do I think I
But
could
do we?
could
What's
get it in
the?
tomorrow for sure? But that doesn't mean that like I'm gonna run to go get the vaccine just because that's possible.
Wait, the confirmed to me that just seems like conjecture. Don't we have data to like see like to estimate what the unconfirmed cases could be? Like to me, even though that could bring it down, as long as you don't know like the exact number, that just seems like conjecture. Like it seems like a pretty flimsy thing to base not getting like a vaccine off. Like especially something that you don't know about.
Wait,
The unconfirmed cases, like are the you said, what did you say? Unconfirmed cases?
well, that's the only thing you can call them, right? The asymptomatic cases. I don't know.
Yeah, if you
Whatever-
can't measure it, why would you make
But
that
when
into
people
your
are
thought process?
asymptomatic, they don't go. Like I'm pretty sure I've had COVID. I didn't go to the doctor. I don't know that I've had COVID. I'm pretty sure because I coughed like almost to death for like 3 weeks straight. But I don't know that I had COVID, right? Blah blah blah. But like I don't just because what you're basically saying is if there's a vaccine, you should take all of them, and that's not how I live my
No,
life.
wait, please don't start me.
Please.
That is, like,
That's
so
straw.
weird.
That
No,
is
yeah,
a straw
basically-
man.
No.
That is
No,
a
it's
straw
not.
man.
No. Can I talk? No, it's not.
Oh, talk.
Because basically you're saying this thing has the possibility of death, even if it's low to you.
No,
you
that
should-
was
No. He mentioned the contagion.
Wait,
That
but
was, like, a big
Gambit,
part.
we've been over this already. It's not only like that fact that like it kills, like the virus itself kills people, but it's the fact that like because it's hyper transmissible, like probably one of the most transmissible things out there, and the ability that it has to have like an impact on our like healthcare system makes it like really dangerous. Not only to people who have COVID, but also people who
Well,
rely on our healthcare system.
I spoke to both of these things. Maybe y'all didn't hear me. Most people that get it don't die. Most people that get it are asymptomatic. Most people that get it don't go to the hospital.
And yet,
So
in places like
so
Texas, they
cases-
still ran out of fucking ICU beds, dog. Like you can say that like I don't care like how many people get it. The problem is not the number. Like you can say like whatever percentage you want, but the problem is that really low percentage like overwhelms like hospitals and stuff.
It's a strain on our medical industry for sure. It definitely is, and we're seeing people get turned away that have like.
And this is overwhelmed hospitals.
Ailments.
We don't even have people in hospitals for the flu because flus are at our flu cases are down by like over 90%.
Because
like
people are more precautious. What are you saying?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so,
If we go
how
back to
precautious
normal,
we've
and
been
people
for
aren't
this whole thing,
precautious,
and
and you
it's
have a
still spreading like crazy?
more people are going to need hospitals, and we're still gonna have COVID like going around, getting people sick. Like just because it spreads so much, like this has long-term impacts on our like healthcare system.
I didn't say any of this wasn't true. You asked me personally why I don't have the vaccine. There's a number of reasons why.
But
I'm
you
waiting
concluded
on more crossover trials. I'm waiting to see how the Delta really affects the efficacy of the vaccines, as well as all of this other stuff. Like I'm waiting to see the data, and I'm in a situation where I work from home. I don't go near people a lot. I invite some friends over like once every now and then, and we do drinks, and I order Uber Eats and Instacart all the time. Like I'm at home almost all the time. My only infection point really is that my kids go to school every day, and my kids could get COVID and come back.
Very
and they could
messed
bring
up.
me COVID.
Or you could give them COVID and send them to school and get other kids sick, just like my daughter got sick.
Yes. I'm sorry your daughter got sick.
I'm not saying that because I want pity. I'm saying that because it's a real life like example of this shit actually happening to people because of that mentality.
You could have gave your daughter COVID, right? Even though you're vaccinated, you could have gave your daughter COVID.
Look, they do contact tracing at the school and they trace it to another student. So in my situation, no, it absolutely was another student. They traced it to the student. So and I know that a lot of schools do that. A lot of schools do contact tracing so they can figure out where it comes from. It's not just like, oh, plausible deniability. They all just got in the classroom together and it's just like, yeah. No, they contact trace. A lot of these schools do. The better ones anyways.
I didn't say they don't.
I'm gonna head out.
I could give my daughter COVID, and I said you can give your daughter COVID too.
Right, but that isn't always a situation, and you can give it to and thereby, if you do give it to her, she can give it to somebody else at school, right?
Same thing. We're in the same situation.
And why is that a good thing?
We are in the same situation. What are you saying?
Well, because you're saying that you haven't gotten the vaccine and that you're not exposing anybody to anything, but in fact, you very well could be.
I never said I'm not exposing anybody to anything. No, I didn't. I said I minimized my contact with people. I didn't say I can't get. Like, I literally said I could get COVID and die, which also means I could get COVID and spread it to my kids. Like,
so is it simply
COVID and spread it to your kids?
So Gambit. So this is.
Go ahead.
Can I start? So Gambit. So does this mean that you just it's worth the risk, or you just don't care?
If you want
I don't get where you're trying to go with this.
No, my answer is yes. Yes, the answer to your question is yes. Absolutely yes. 100% yes. Now what's your next question?
Okay.
Wait, I have a question to pass on this. So so you're saying that it's worth the risk, but what is the negative of taking the vaccine? I guess I'm not understanding that part. Because if this there is a non-zero.
And this is why, yes, you're about to say exactly what I said earlier, and now you're going to say it's a straw man. Yes, just because there's a non-zero likelihood that I could die, doesn't mean that I'm going to rush to take the vaccine. You're basically saying now there's a potentially, if there's a possibility of you dying, you should definitely take every vaccine. Right, and that's what I said earlier. But you said no. Y'all are screwed. You screwed me.
You didn't even let me finish my sentence, so it's so funny that you're going on because that wasn't even where I was ending. Okay, so it's cool. I'm glad you want to interrupt. So
what were you about to say?
Yeah. So I was also going to add, and I was going to ask this a little.
No. What were you going to say?
I'm still saying. Okay. There's also I know there are long-term effects of COVID. I don't know how prevalent they are.
Small. I'll address that. Small. Cool. Hospitalization and severe cases are small.
Cool.
Small.
So, what is the negative of like these? There obviously is death. There's days you're gonna feel like shit, obviously, but there's also long-term effects. Whereas, what's the negative of like getting the vaccine and having to feel shit for like a day or two? That's what I don't understand. Of like, you go in for 15 minutes, you get a shot, everything's cool.
Hold on, wait. I was reading what Naya said in chat. What? Say that again. I'm sorry.
You're basically saying like, hey, all these potential negatives, even though they aren't the worst thing in the world, but we probably want to mitigate any damage that could possibly happen from a vaccine, or sorry, from the COVID. And you're saying that I don't want to deal with the vaccine, or what's the negative here on the vaccine side? That like makes you say like, oh yeah, all this like potentially bad shit, that's okay, because I don't want to deal with the vaccine. Which
there are no inherent negatives to the vaccine that I know of, right? There's some 0.001% of some nonsense shit, right? But I don't think that there's real negative impacts. I do think that until there's more data on crossover trials and things like that, then I could be locked potentially.
Here's an analogy. Listen, they did this study about traffic and how traffic jams are created. So they had to do a meta study and they were trying to figure out what was causing traffic and so on and so forth and how it could be alleviated. Well, anyway, what they discovered was that people changing lanes a lot are ultimately the people for whom the traffic jams can be blamed on. And those are, so I see those people all the time, because where we are on the highway, it's I mean, we're moving like 65 miles an hour, but you know, there's only so much room in between cars that you give space, so if anything happens, you have enough space to brake. And then there are cars that would just weave through, right? And I always think about those people, because they're like, to them it makes perfect sense, right? They're laughing at me because they're like a quarter mile up ahead of me, right? But ultimately they're the causers of the traffic jam. And I think that's the thing that's happening, going back and forth with GSU Gambit, is that GSU Gambit is switching lanes, and he's like, well, you know, this makes perfect sense for me, you know, and that's sort of his politics. That's it.
Okay, this might turn into a meme, but GSU, do you care about your sex life?
Yes, I do.
Do you realize that if you get COVID, even asymptomatically, you will end up getting erectile dysfunction? A very high chance of getting that.
Yeah, I also don't use condoms. It's a possibility that I could get STDs. Yeah, go ahead, keep going. What else? What else you got?
I'll just
wait. GSU, what more research or what more information do you think is going to come out from these vaccines that's going to make it more trustworthy for you?
Y'all keep being silly. I don't think y'all listen. It has nothing to do with.
Wait. You say you
said you were
trying to make you rush out and go. Wait. You're saying we're trying to make you go out and rush out to go get the vaccine.
No,
it's been out for almost 12 months.
Never.
Wait, you said we're.
I've said once.
The bot's out
waiting for crossover. He said he's waiting for crossover trials and all that shit.
Yeah, but that wasn't my.
What are these trials gonna show you that's gonna make you feel better?
You're aware that if you yell the same question a million times, I don't get the answer right. You know that, right?
I mean, you have peer-reviewed studies. You have the FDA approval. I think it's called.
Dumb shit. Go ahead. Yeah. Go ahead. Keep going.
It's not dumb shit though, right? Why do you think you don't trust that? Like we had literal conservatives change their mind because of.
I just want to see how dumb and how like impossible to follow conversation y'all are. What's my primary reason for not having the vaccine right now?
No, what is your
primary reason? He doesn't think that it's necessary due to his conditions.
Right, because you don't have to do a lot of contact with the world. The only situation you're gonna get COVID is from your kids, or from the people, or from.
And not only that, not only that. The fact that COVID is still the fact that COVID is still there and you're not actually treating it with vaccines, that will definitely generate more variants, right? Which are more deadlier the more that happens, right? Like the Delta variant that's happening, and it's gonna be harder to actually vaccinate it. Right?
Everybody knows that except the undecided voter.
Gambit, clarify.
Wait.
I've always said that primarily, and I said this earlier, and y'all can listen again. It's that the risk of injury or the risk of death is ultra low. That's my primary reason.
Wait, but
Everything after that was ancillary.
So
Everything
the
after
okay,
implication, though,
that's-
is that one is worse than the other. So you're saying that the vaccine. This is the implication you're making. Is that
No,
hey,
it's not.
this-
No, it's not. That's
yes,
just you.
because you're
That's just
saying
your
that.
dumb
The
brain.
risk, no.
No.
The risk is so low here that I'm not going to take this precaution that could help with this risk. That's what you're saying.
Yeah, you could
No,
be
but
like,
Because
like,
it's not
be like
a huge
pushing
you
burden
could
to
be-
get the vaccine.
yeah.
No.
well, you could be on a ventilator for the rest of your life and say, "Oh, but I
But
didn't die though.
You could as well.
I didn't die though."
What he's saying is
There's
super,
some kind
super
of
unlikely to
that's
happen.
what I was doing. All of
But
us
the-
could.
So
Everybody.
the way I don't, guys, to be honest, I don't think because in a way he's right. I don't think I can convince him if he's coming from that framework. Like obviously, like if he gets, he's probably not going to die based on the stats.
That's why
but
we
like
should deplatform all people.
but
who
like
are
my main
hesitant.
argument is that like
Exactly. Da-da-da.
But like I already went on my spiel about the infectivity. I just don't think like he cares that I don't know. I think we have two just different views of how we look at pandemics and how they should be like treated. I don't.
Well,
Fuck.
I think what she
Yeah,
basically
I-
pointed
I-
out,
I-
you know,
I-
March, you pointed out you made a good point earlier. You're 18, you're fairly healthy, and I'm sure a lot of young people feel that way right now. But I think as I've said before, this pandemic or this COVID is not going away, and so you can say now you don't feel like you're going to get the vaccine, which according to the CDC August 27, 2021 report, if you end up in the ICU, you're 15 times more to die from COVID. But as you get older, as you get older, there's going to be a point in your life at some point, and if you want to take the risk, that's your life, that's your body, it's your decision. But as you get older, you're going to get less and less resistant to it.
Like,
so at some point, you may end up having to take the vaccine, or you can't, or you'll be in an ICU bed sitting there.
To be fair,
I wish I took that.
Wait.
So,
Listen. So a lot of y'all haven't interacted with me, so I think that's what's like why y'all are saying a lot of the things I consider dumb. So immediately when the vaccines came out, my grandmother was in a class that was 650 times more likely to die. So guess what I did? I called my mom and I said, "Hey, we need to get her vaccinated ASAP." Right? My mom is older, and I actually had a long conversation with her, like, "Hey, maybe you should think about this." And my mom is vaccinated. There's a lot of people close to me that I've talked them into getting vaccinated, or they were already pro-vaccine, and it was just a simple conversation. So
it doesn't matter. We're talking about you.
I know.
We're talking
dumbass, but
about
you brought
your
up different
position.
situations, dumbass. So can you just listen?
Okay. You want to put the God on it? It says like, oh look, I'll put God on the wheel for my own life and hope that my kids will not die or whatever. Then go ahead. I'm finding you wanting to do that.
Anybody's kids can die during this pandemic, vaccinated or not. Period.
Well, I mean, you've already, if you think you already had COVID, you may have already built up your own.
Yes.
Yes. It could be, it might be something you want to consider to go get tested to see if you have antibodies. And
no, I've
even still that wanes though.
Wait, how are you confident?
But
Wait,
Gambit,
how are you confident? With no testing, with nothing. How are you confident?
Because most people that contract COVID are either asymptomatic or don't have serious
And how are you confident? It's like, okay, have you contacted with someone positive, like had COVID positive, and you just like you're sure that you had it? How did you confirm that? How do you know
you're
that?
asking how am I confident that I had it?
Yeah.
Because I was traveling at the time, and every symptom that I had was highly related to every possible symptom that people can have. Yes.
Did you isolate
how would
yourself?
you know it's actually COVID, not other thing?
I didn't. So I specifically said I think I had COVID.
You think you had COVID?
Yes, I didn't say I definitely had COVID.
Okay, interesting.
Okay, but Gambit, I want to make I want to make an appeal to you because even from my I already did my spiel at the 18-year-old thing. Can you look at a nationalistic kind of patriotic view? Because that's kind of how I looked at it as well. All of us, even all of us here, we're not going to die from it, right?
Patriotic saying people.
What?
People
Well,
have the right to do whatever the fuck.
Wait, let me
Oh,
let me finish. Yeah, no one people people keep saying that no one's trying to take your rights. Okay. But yeah,
No, I'm
not
not
taking
saying
your
you're
rights away, but like just your personal choice with your right. It seems like this pandemic is only very deadly to some percentage of the population, like old people, people with premortalities, right? But they could die from any disease, right? It seems like since this disease is so contagious and the act of getting a vaccine is so like easy, that's the right word, like easy, like takes 15 minutes, just go to your local Publix, CVS, whatever you want to. It seems like just to be a patriot, to care about like your fellow Americans, fellow fucking disabled old Republican Americans, whoever the fuck, people that are gonna die, that people that are most likely to die from this vaccine. Like it just seems like something you would do if you like care about your fellow
You know what you
countrymen.
could do if you care about those people? You could just stay the hell away from them too.
You
I've seen-
can, but you can get the
Yeah.
vaccine
But
and
how do you go
still
to church? How
yeah,
do you go to church,
I'll
man?
go to
yeah,
church
and still
on-
I
We
complete
wanna
talked
get
about
this
long
right.
COVID yet.
I go to church on Zoom every Sunday.
Have
My
we
dad
had any
does that as
convo
well.
around long COVID?
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, so have
But
you?
does that
maybe
what-
I'm sorry. Actually,
ahead.
keep going. You were kind of in a back.
No,
and forth.
it's real quick, but does that make any not sense? But like, does that appeal to you at all? Like, can you look at it through like a patriotic kind of lens, like helping your fellow American out?
I help my fellow Americans all the time. I donate to lots of causes.
But
I
it doesn't
hope in other
doesn't
ways.
mean you can do
Fuck all
more
petty
about it.
Americans.
That doesn't mean you could do more.
I donate
That's
to
just
more
something you can
causes.
add on. This is
Can I get a real answer to like what is the negative to getting the vaccine, rather than
No,
the
I don't-
non-zero chance of like illness, death, after effects, stuff like that?
Wait, it sounds like you're saying I don't like your answer, so I want a different one. First
No,
off,
it's possible I missed it. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, there
True.
is. It has nothing to do with positives or negatives with the vaccine.
Okay. Well, hold on. So let me say the problem with that. So you're saying I don't want to do this thing because the negative effects are so low. So why would I want to bother with this thing? Now, you're right. You know, it's not that big of a deal for someone like you, but it's a non-zero chance. Shit might suck. It's a free vaccine. Takes 15 minutes. Like, there is almost no penalty to doing this thing. The only thing I could think of is other than, no, it's just laziness, or like there are negatives here. So is it?
No. With your framework, that's how you work it out, and that's fine. I have no problem with other people having whatever moral system they like, and if they want to get vaccinated, they can. I have no problem with that. But just because you work things out that way doesn't mean I do.
No, I'm just asking. So what is your fuck? If your reason is simply, I just don't want to, because it's a non-zero chance,
Call it
right?
selfish. I'm
I'm calling it lazy. First of all, calling it lazy or there's negative effect. I'm just trying to get through with that. To
So
figure
much
out-
more than that.
telling you,
I'm
he's telling
literally
you
just
it's-
asking.
He has misinformation in his thought
No,
process.
no, it's not that. It's not
Okay,
misinformed. He just doesn't want to do it because he doesn't want to do it.
misinformation that
because
I
he's
have?
selfish. He tells you that he's still.
No, yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
H9, what misinformation do I have?
The fact that we have no idea what the long-term effects of getting the COVID
Did I say we didn't?
virus is.
What
No, you said there's
Okay, can I
literally
just-
no
let me
downside for me.
He did not say
Because
that.
there's all asymptomatics and
Can y'all let him talk?
Oh
'Cause
boy.
he's about to say some bullshit. Go ahead, say it.
Go H9, finish your point.
all right, you're literally saying that people literally are asymptomatics, never get to the hospital, literally can't tell they have this. But we have zero idea the long-term after effects of having this disease. Literally, once you get the chicken pox, you have literally guaranteed to get the shingle virus,
You've made your
and
claim.
that can't kill people.
You've made your claim. All right. Did anyone else hear me say the dumb shit that just came out of his mouth?
Oh my god.
Nobody did.
No, part of your reasoning that you told us
Oh, so you're a dumb
was
fuck.
because it's
So
none.
you
There's zero little negatives of the COVID.
Wait, do you
For
admit
you.
that you're a dumb fuck?
I bet you're just insulting rather than
Nobody else
actually
heard
listen
me.
to him.
Nobody else heard me say this, but somehow you heard it. Do you think?
No,
that was a
you're
problem?
you're basing your arguments based off misinformation. That's literally what it's saying.
Janie's trying to talk.
What is-
Janie.
so all right, he was false. So maybe you can try. What misinformation?
He literally just.
Either way. If you don't mind me saying-
Wait. No, when
Okay,
people
okay.
make dumbass
The fact-
claims, you need to let them be dumb. What
Sure,
misinformation?
Okay, sure. You can add on. Here's the thing. You said hold up.
Don't stutter now. You were so bold earlier. Say the dumb
No,
shit.
no. Yeah, no. Hold up. Wait.
Yeah, I know exactly. You have nothing. You're a dumb fuck. That's why.
Yeah, I think for now we're just gonna. I'll let Jamie talk. But like,
Yeah.
it's just gonna go
Yeah.
in circles. You can't really convince him. It's
Yeah,
just
I
gonna-
mean,
Yeah,
there's basically nothing at this point that
Pretty
would
much he
change it.
lost it.
And I understand.
Oh,
that
that's-
I kind of get it. I understand we're not going to convince him, but at least I would hope that people who get, and not you in particular, but just in general, if they choose not to get the vaccine, but they feel like they have COVID, to either A, go get tested to make sure if you have it or not, or B, self-isolate and make sure you're not spreading it around to other people. If you're not going to do it, get a vaccine for yourself, but at least make sure that you're not spreading it to other people that don't want it and are vulnerable and could even die from it.
Janie.
And you don't know who's going to be the vulnerable one. And even if you get it, you don't know to what extent, even the second time you get it or the third time you get it.
We got
So
it.
if you don't want to get a vaccine,
Oh my God, we got it, Janie.
So,
Yeah, I agree. Okay, so let me come at you with a little bit of an anecdote. My brother, right, he's 29 years old, very healthy, goes to the gym almost every day. Literally a health freak. Got COVID because he put off getting the vaccine, just because he couldn't be bothered to get it. It was a farce. He was a bit like just complacent about it. He was like, I don't need it, I'll be fine. If I get it, I probably won't have symptoms, no bother. Got it. Got long COVID. So we know 20% of people that get COVID have symptoms, which result in long COVID, which are symptoms 3 weeks or longer. He was so tired for weeks and weeks and weeks that he had to take time off work because he just was exhausted all the time after having this virus. We know that these effects aren't just limited to, tiredness, but we're talking about serious cognitive decline. We're talking about long-term damage to your cardiovascular and respiratory systems. We know that we have people presenting with a lot of frontal lobe issues, so things like concentration. People sort of discuss this sort of feeling of fogginess in the brain, difficulties with around memory, long-term and short-term. We know these things, and there has been a lot of research over the last year because we know this is presenting more and more of a health issue within the NHS and in, health services around the world. Is it worth the risk? Is something I would say to you. You've got a 1 in 5 chance of having this long COVID. I can understand why it's easy to get complacent around these things when you're young and healthy and you aren't used to having any health issues.
wait,
But-
Jenny, you agree that there's not a 1 in 5 chance that you're going to get long COVID, right?
There is a 1 in 5 chance.
You're going to stand behind that.
Yeah.
Can you cite anything that agrees with that?
Yeah, sure. Do you want me to put it the
So you
citation
think
in
that,
chat?
wait, just to be clear, 1 in 5 is 20%. You think that there's a study that exists that says that
Yes.
20% of people who contract COVID end up with long-term COVID, which will be in the box of a severe case of COVID.
It's not classed as severe case of COVID. What it's classed as is symptoms over 3 weeks or longer. There is a citation for this, yes.
Yeah,
Put
but
it in VC chat if you want.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
guess severe COVID would be like being intubated and like barely surviving for the hospital visit. I guess you could have those long COVID systems without.
But,
Yeah, you can have that. You can get that with having mild symptoms, staying out of hospital. My brother wasn't severely ill, but he had long-term effects because of COVID in regards to
Yeah.
feeling very, very tired all the time.
Yeah, so it's possible that, the millions of days I've done research on this, that I missed this one. Can you link that in VC chat?
Yeah, sure.
That shows that 20% of people who come in contact with COVID end up with long-term COVID.
Yeah. But
My
Gambit,
stance- wait, y'all might watch my stance change on live. Yeah, if you can
Yeah.
link that, that'd be awesome.
But Gambit, I just out of my own curiosity, right? like, do you think, like, what's your view on the pandemic as a whole? Do you think at the current stage we're at, do you think like the pandemic, it's not really that serious? Like the government, people are just overhyping it. I'm generally curious. Or do you think like that's just like a overhyped thing? Like we should start like opening back up. Like, what's your view on it?
So my view hasn't changed since last year. First off, it's silly to not have mask mandates, and I'm even okay with like forced like stay-at-home orders or something. I think it's silly that we're interacting as if like we're not in a pandemic. I think it's absolutely silly. But luckily for me, I get to work at home, but a lot of people don't, and I think it's silly that for the economy we're subjecting people going out into COVID, regardless of your vaccination status, where you actually are interacting with millions and millions of families every day, and you're in like a very high risk class, and doing that every day just for companies is silly to me. So I'm pro mask mandate. I've never changed this. I've said the same thing since on Prime's platform not when COVID started, because I don't think I was here then, but yeah, I've said this every time. And like, yeah, when we had the shutdowns, I was pro shutdown, and I thought it was silly that we were opening back up. Our cases per day is higher than it was when we shut down. I think it's absolutely silly that people are going to work during what we're existing in right now. Yeah, I think that's silly.
Dang, you are a weird person, Gambit. You're really weird.
No,
Vaccination is much more effective than masks, right?
No.
Yeah, definitely.
Wait, no, I didn't let you finish. Say that again.
Vaccination is more effective than in protecting you than masks, right? You realize that, right?
I agree that
then
vaccinations is better than masks, but I think if you are in a lot of situations, you can just use masks and you don't need to get vaccinated. But I also think like the likelihood of you getting like some kind of like this 1 in 5 long COVID thing, I think that's absolutely bananas. But
wait,
yeah.
hold up.
So I've put some citations in chat. It's worth noting that I forgot to say in adults. I've sent 2 links there.
Oh, you put it in.
So 1 in 6, it was 17%, and then it's 1/3. It depends on how you define the age group. There's been quite a few studies over the last year. We know that long COVID is more common in older people, but when I say older people, I mean people in their 40s and late 30s.
So you agree that this says patients first? I haven't even clicked the link yet, but it says patients. So this is talking about 1/3 of the people admitted to a hospital, which is not the same as 1/3 of people that catch COVID. You agree, right?
Come
okay,
on.
but if you
This
look
is
at the
making
first
question.
one, this is people.
Wait, do you agree or
people
disagree?
The second one, yes. The 1 in 6 though, that is just people with COVID.
Okay, wait. Maybe I looked at the wrong one. I just looked at the bottom of VC chat. Maybe there's something else.
It says who reported having COVID.
Yeah. And these journalist sites are from the UK. I automatically refute any information coming from this.
Automatically refute it because it's from the UK. But I'm finna read this in 1 second. It says middle-aged people who report being infected.
So you have middle age and then you have younger people. It falls to 7.8%. So 1 in 13.
Do they clarify what they mean by long COVID symptoms in this?
Yes, let me have a look.
I mean, I'm mad for it. No, somebody else talk. It sounds weird with us just talking about it.
Anyone else?
I don't know if there's much to say about Gambit not wanting the vaccine. If we have anything else,
it's a waste of time. It doesn't matter when you talk.
Should we mandate?
Yeah. I'm sorry. I wanted to ask a question to Gamp.
It says if they use a stricter definition, it impacts 1.2% of 20-year-olds and 4.8% of people middle-aged. So I don't know what it means by stricter definition, but apparently there's some loose definition that they're using to say 1 in 6 inside of the article that you linked.
Wait, let me have a little look.
Just look for.
I do agree that there is an issue in regards to, because they don't clarify a stricter definition. That's the thing. Like, as impacting routine daily activities. So the problem around this is that there's no very objective way to define this. Every study that's been done on it, the rates do vary. But when we look at self-reports, usually what we see is an impact, and the most common long-term symptom is exhaustion, and that is after 3 weeks or more. And that, I believe, is in adults. But then once you go to one after 8 weeks, then it becomes, I believe it's 1 in 20, which is still very high because I believe that's in a general population sample. So that's all ages. But it's worth having a look in both articles because, as I say, the second one, yes, is in patients. So you're talking about people that have had like a significant, symptom load.
Do you guys, out of curiosity, just for like the panel, do you guys think it would be ethical? I'm pretty sure they don't do this, but do you think it'd be ethical to enforce like a COVID shot or a vaccine mandate for the refugees who just took in from like Afghanistan?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely.
What if they claimed like a religious thing? That like it's against what they are.
When people immigrate to America, we do require they get vaccinated
I'm saying
and
the
have medical
refugees.
exams.
No, I said the refugees.
Yeah, well,
Immigrants and
immigrating to
refugees are the
America.
same thing.
Yeah.
in legal processes.
Wait. No, they are not. Refugees.
When they're being processed and screened, yes.
Wait, what do you mean? Like the status of refugee is not the same as the status of like an immigrant?
Well, I didn't say the status. I said the immigration process.
But they're in the country. They're in the U.S. temporarily. They're going to be moved to whatever desired destination that we can put them in. Like they're not the same as like an
they're still in the U.S. and they would have to clear medical protocol no matter what. Foreigners who have never been to America have to clear medical things before they come here. That's just a fact. I don't care if they're a refugee.
Although
anyone who's not a citizen or never been to a citizen of the U.S. coming here for the first time has to get medical clearance.
According to the CDC, you're wrong. Although refugees are not required to have vaccinations before arrival in the. Wait, hold on. Let me. I'm hot reading this. I could be wrong.
They're changing that though.
Okay.
Like the Biden administration made an announcement. It hasn't happened yet though. Hasn't happened yet. But soon enough, like I think they said at the beginning or end of October that they're going to require all immigrants, I believe, to become vaccinated.
Yeah. What I'm seeing here is that refugees can apply after a year in the U.S. They can apply for legal permanent residence. At that time, they'll be required to be fully vaccinated in accordance with the CDC technical instructions.
Don't you have to take a shot, like for instance, to go to some countries in South America, even then, like just to get vaccinated in a few?
If you want a passport, yeah, but I think that's like any country.
Yeah, I think why shouldn't we just do that? Just it's literally just to protect them. So yeah. I want to push again. I want to.
But should it be? But since the refugees, they're not Let me just. I think I haven't thought about this much, but I think I agree with you all. But just to play devil's advocate, since the refugees, they were almost sort of forced to come to the U.S. They just wanted to escape their trials. Don't you think it would be kind of corrosive? It's different from an immigrant because they choose to come to the U.S. Don't you think it's kind of like a corrosive incentive to force them to get the vaccine? They have a choice in that manner.
You could also say is it fair to force them to follow our laws and because they didn't want to come, they didn't choose to come here, they were forced here, but they still have to follow everything that we want them to do in accordance to our law. So if our law says get vaccinated,
yeah, I think it's fine. I think it's moral to make sure they get vaccinated. I think the only thing you would have to be aware of is anyone who with any immunocompromised illness that wouldn't be able to get vaccinated. So I guess there would be a practical issue in ensuring you have a good set of medical records for the refugees because obviously they have been displaced. But outside of that, I think it makes sense to make sure they get vaccinated.
Wait, I'm posting stuff in VC chat. You should look.
Okay.
What is it?
But what about you, Gambit? What's your view on that?
I'm sorry. I was looking at the different ways that people define long COVID. Sometimes it's if you cough for a extended period of time, that's considered long COVID. So the metric that people use when we think of like there's like long-term effects of COVID, which is a big thing that people started to talk about and how it could affect the respiratory system. But I think some of our friends are mixing that up with just long COVID, meaning that you have the COVID like virus for an extended period of time, not really long-term effects thereafter. So yeah.
So my definition, I do agree that the research can be a bit confusing because there are variations in how they define long COVID and the age groups that I used. But in that UCL study that I linked with the 1 in 6, which yes does decrease once you look at significant impact in daily life activities, which is really important to look at, of course. But
the 1 in 6, to be specific, I think the hospitalization. I should look this up.
Hey,
The
I had to put my shit on
hospitalization
mute because I
rate
just want to say something real quick.
people that
You know,
have
these
COVID is
motherfuckers
some-
trolling shit about the COVID
like,
virus
very
and the
small
vaccines
percent.
and shit.
So
you can
this
go ahead
is
and
one
right
of
now,
6 of
fuck
a
the fuck
already
off.
small number.
I don't give a shit
No, no,
if you
no,
have a
that is
platform
not
or a
people who are in
space
hospital.
in my views, in
That's
my
general
shit.
population.
I don't
30%
fucking
was the one
care.
No,
You're a
the
fucking
yeah, the 1
loser.
in 3,
You hear
that
me?
is the
You're a fucking
patients.
loser.
No,
But
you were
that-
talking
You're
about the 1
trolling
in
me
6
while my
just now.
daughter is sick
one in
with
six
fucking
is the one in
COVID.
six
You
is
know
the
what
one
kind
in
of piece of shit you
patients.
are?
No,
You're
the
the
one
kind
in
of
six
piece
is
of
the
shit that
one in
doesn't
six.
deserve a
COVID.
fucking platform. Go ahead and
It's of
fuck
1.2
yourself,
million
motherfuckers.
people. It's a general population survey. It's not people who are hospitalized necessarily. It's just patients who self-reported COVID.
Yeah, got you. Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm
So
not
that
obliged to be
actually
polite to anybody.
isn't
I
in
don't give a
regards to
fuck
just
about being polite to
respiratory
people.
illness, so I know
If
what you
you can't
mean.
deal with the
But that
realities
is
of the
also
situation,
symptoms that can be.
if you're not going
It's
to be
not something you would
empathetic to
typically
people, you can
relate to
go ahead and go
COVID, like
fuck yourself
exhaustion,
too.
but that are pervasive for over 3 weeks or longer. That's the high percent that I was looking at.
Yeah, but what they're talking about is long COVID in the context of your individual case of COVID lasted longer. They're not talking about long-term
I
effects.
got a job outside
after
of
you
streaming. I don't
recover
need to
from
do
the
this shit
disease.
for a living. I don't
Those
give
are
a
two
fuck
different
if I
things.
have
That's what I'm
80
trying to
followers
explain
or
to you.
10
She was just talking
followers
about
or
long-term
fucking
COVID.
whatever. I'm not
Yeah,
dealing with you
long-term
bitch ass
COVID,
motherfuckers.
Or whatever.
Doesn't matter to me. Long-term
Oh,
COVID.
You could
is-
say
admit
that.
you don't care.
Wait, no.
Then why the hell you just have to go through all of this
No,
and waste people's time on this?
because I'm trying to explain the difference, but you're trying to butt in. I think Django probably understands what I'm saying too.
Well, to be okay, so you're well. Actually, no. Keep going. Finish your sentence so I can
Yeah,
hear you all the way
okay.
through.
So, a long-term case of COVID that lasts for a few weeks, which is like almost exactly what I had. A long-term case of COVID where the symptoms evaporate after you heal from the virus. What I'm saying is that doesn't matter to me. That doesn't change how I would feel about rushing to go get the vaccine.
So this is
Oh,
all
sure.
about feelings
well-
into just the facts. Just
So that is no. Just to keep on that, why did we go down this path? Because she very clearly defined it before you even looked at the article.
I don't think so.
Yes,
maybe I
you were
misunderstood.
very certain to be like, "Hey, you mean this by long COVID, right?" And then she fully
Yeah,
defined it.
symptoms
You guys
3
got
weeks or
really, you guys got
longer.
really super specific, and it was all good. And then you
No.
looked at it, and now you said, "Well, I don't care."
No.
Yes.
No. In our entire conversation, our entire exchange, when she was saying long COVID at first, when she talked about the respiratory things, there's also long-term damages from COVID.
then
that
get
can be
the
respiratory.
bot for
Your
this.
symptoms
Wait.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna finish. Okay. All right. When I was talking to her, what I thought she was saying was she was talking specifically about the same thing that I was talking about: long-term effects of COVID, not a long duration of the COVID virus in your system before you heal.
She
That's what I
specifically,
misunderstood.
you guys
No,
specifically
I'm
have
not
to-
saying that she did it. I'm not saying that she
Sure.
didn't. I'm telling you what I misunderstood. So because I look up the more serious sides of COVID, maybe that's just always at the front of my mind, and that's what I care about. Actually, I care about the long-term effects of COVID, not having a long individual bout with COVID.
I think a lot of people think of just the respiratory illness in regards to COVID, when really the respiratory illness itself can have significant impacts on various functions in your body, like your neurological function and your
But you agree
cardiovascular
if all of those
symptoms.
evaporate and you have no conditions after your bout with COVID, it's like, yeah, I had a hard case of COVID and now I'm over it and it doesn't matter. The only thing that
Well,
really matters is the long.
So the long COVID I'm regarding is the symptoms 3 weeks or longer, which can be either a direct result of symptoms in that particular illness or long-term pervasive symptoms that are a result of the illness but not necessarily a
And
primary
this is the
symptom
question
of.
I asked you earlier, and it sounds like you answered it wrong. I specifically talked about how chronic cases are like long-term effects after COVID are all considered like severe cases. And that's why I thought we were on the same page. But now it turns out that we weren't. I'm being blamed for it, which I don't care because I don't care. But I specifically asked that question earlier. And your answer
Okay, so
was
I'm
yes.
like not coming for you. I know everyone is going
No,
like
I know you're
at
not.
you.
No, I know you're not. I'm just explaining why I'm
I'm just saying that my definition, I don't think I have changed, but it is open to interpretation, I
But you
guess.
do
I
agree.
said symptoms 3 weeks or longer,
But you
or
do agree.
symptomologies
But
3
you
weeks or
do
longer.
agree that what you're talking about right now isn't considered a serious case.
Well,
do
I
agree
don't
with
know. Could you
Because that's the
explain what you
question
mean
I
by
asked now.
serious, though?
When they talk about serious or critical cases of COVID, and they talk about how
Critical cases of COVID, that's very different. That
No, no.
would be regarding people
It's
that
all
take
linked
the
together. It
bad
almost-
route and end up in hospital.
No. This is the specific question I asked you because I wanted you to clarify multiple times. And I was like, wait, is this what you're talking about? And you said yes. So I said, okay, I'll listen. Otherwise, I wouldn't have listened.
Wait. So what do you? I'm sorry. I'm
Oh, they're
missing
confused.
everything. What did you assume she was saying when she said long-term COVID?
I assumed she was talking about long-term effects of COVID, which are all considered serious cases.
Okay,
Which is why I
so
specifically asked, wait, you're saying that 1 out of every 5 cases end up in this serious cases? She
Right.
said yes. I said, okay, can you provide the article?
okay. Yeah.
So
and
did
then
you think I meant like serious cases
was-
as in like you are more likely to be hospitalized? Because I mean
thought you meant-
pervasive over
I
time.
thought you meant long-term effects post-COVID infection.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Wait. Oh.
Exactly. Okay. So I.
Oh, I'm
okay,
confused now. Jesus.
Because
no.
I remember she
I
was
just wanted to make-
specifying.
I just
she
want
was
to make sure I was on the
specifying
right page.
initially. No, I remember she was at least from my recollection, she was specifying specifically, any COVID symptoms that
Yeah,
last
like
3 weeks
like
or longer.
illness. Yeah, 3 weeks or
But
longer. That's what I mean. Yeah,
Gambit
yeah.
is referring to, and then maybe this is where he was either he was confused or you agreed to something that he was, whatever. Was he saying after COVID's gone, the effects of that?
No, I'm not restricting my definition to that. No, I mean, as I said,
They're two separate things. They're just two separate things. Just straight up.
Yes,
They're
we
not.
understand our disagreement now, and I think we can move on.
But I was confused because at least the first time it came up, I thought that was like the thing we were specifying was, hey,
Oh,
COVID
Jesus
symptoms that
Christ,
last
my
3
head.
weeks or longer. That's all.
well, you can have COVID symptoms that last 3 weeks or longer, but you can also be recovered
shit.
from COVID and have the exhaustion and things that can last like a significant period of time, which would make a part of that, but I don't think that would constitute the 20% that I'm referring to.
Did the stream go down? No, it didn't.
No. Did it?
Oh, hey.
Oh,
Cool.
fine.
It crashed. on the
Oh,
right.
thank you. 1 second. Thank you, Mafia Jinx, for being so kind as to rate us by 171 viewers. It's really kind of you. Thank you so much, Mafia, who we hope to have some time on the show. But yeah, everyone, hit up Mafia. Jinx is being very kind to us. If you are from Mafia's channel, hello, hi. Yeah, you might know me already, but I'll do my whole spiel again. My name is Prime. We do panels here, lots of them. Right now, we're doing open walk-on panel with audience members like you. Yes, you sitting at home may be involved. We do them all the time, right? So these are members of the public who have just like wandered in here and are yelling at each other about COVID apparently right now. We also do 1v1s. We do closed-in battle panels. We do interviews. We do all kinds of things on this channel. If any of that interests you, if any of that at all interests you, then hit that follow button right now. Make sure notifications are on so you know I'm going live. Do 6 nights a week. Don't want you to miss out on any of it. So hit that follow button right this second. Again, thank you for being so kind, Mafia Jinx. Really do appreciate you sharing your audience with me. I hope you had a fantastic night. Hope you really enjoyed yourself. What are you saying? Go ahead.
Oh yeah. Just because I was curious, I looked into like the vaccine for refugees thing. I linked something in VC chat for like this from the CDC. They're not refugees are not required to get a vaccine before they enter the country, but after about a year they can apply for permanent residency, and then if they want to be a permanent resident, then they have to get the vaccine. So I guess to refine like my question, now that they're like in the US, like they're just a refugee now, do you think that we should maybe change that and require it that even though you're a refugee you have to get the vaccine?
I think, was that not what Prime was saying
For
earlier? about
every
they-
other
they are
vaccine
changing
that's
that?
Yes, this is a global pandemic. Yes, 100%. This is not like every
Yeah.
other situation. We need to stop pretending like this is like everything else. This is not like everything else. This is not like the flu. This is not like a lot of other things that we've had to contend with. This is distinct and different, and we need to treat it distinct and different. You can step outside of your normal political bounds for 5 freaking seconds to do what's better for the whole. Like, I'm sorry. I don't buy this shit. I don't buy this.
There's just too much
My
risk to the health
ideology says
system
no.
that you couldn't.
Yeah, for
If
sure.
somebody
It-
doesn't
it's-
get the vaccine, that means they're not taking.
Yeah, that's
the
okay. We're trying to be specific to the people here, and for sure, yes, the refugees should at least get the vaccine either way as like a condition for being part of the refugees.
So,
And
sorry, just because I want to expand on it further. Since you're forcing it to them, I assume you don't want to just strap them down the chair and like stick the needle
No.
in them. If they refuse to, what do you think should happen to them if these refugees refuse?
Deportation.
Leave.
Deportation.
Leave.
Okay.
No!
Well,
What the
they're-
fuck? No, definitely not. Like, if you want to treat like refugees as like normal citizens and like future citizens, like honestly, like you would just like handle them.
Wait, I
the
can't.
same
You
way.
can't
treat them
because
as
they're in
citizens.
public facilities. They're in public facilities. They're in government facilities where they have to be around other people. They don't have their own homes. They're not sitting in a house
Okay.
somewhere. It's
Okay,
different.
in that case,
Can I
in
just
that-
check something
in that-
though?
no,
Usually when. Do you want to go? Sorry.
Finish.
Yeah, so in that case, just go with the ICE solution, right? And just put them in camps because they are different, like kind of
No,
citizens.
we're not.
That's
Yeah,
basically
we're not
what you
saying
guys
that.
are arguing for.
No,
Chill,
like you
we're
do
not
with
arguing
them
that.
second.
Deportation
We're
is
not
different
strapping
from
them
concentration
into
camps.
chairs and forcing them like through clocks of orange or whatever. I think too they would understand for the sake of their lives and their children to live in a better society such as the United States. I think they would be very much open to a thing like a vaccine.
Yeah, they probably would too, because honestly, like if you come from like
they would
like
rather-
a country that's not that privileged, having like a vaccine like for COVID is super cool. But that being said, like you cannot mandate like people that immigrate from other countries like to say like, you need to take the vaccine.
We
because of
already
the fact
do that with
they're
several
not
other
that
countries where
dumb.
they have to get vaccines before they come into the States.
No,
That-
but I'm
that
talking
is
to.
tourism. You're talking about tourism, right? Are you
Not
talking
to-
about like immigration?
No, I'm
The
not.
vast
Immigration.
majority-
To
The
be
reason
very
these
precise-
vaccines normally have to be done is because they
To
aren't
be-
present in the population you'll be joining. They're not
To be-
local to the population you're joining. That's why they're done.
To be-
However, ironically, there's
Right.
probably more people in America with COVID or with COVID antibodies than there is in Afghanistan. So they'll probably be okay.
Yeah, to be very precise, I'm talking about refugees, like people that came from war zones. Like, if you want to deport, like, where would you deport them to? Fuck it up.
Yeah,
Back
exactly.
to Afghanistan.
Oh, yeah.
Damn.
Just,
I'm with
just-
that.
Do you
just
already
die.
know the laws and
Just
regulations
die.
within our country? Yeah.
That's pretty. I wouldn't
Wait,
go
so
that
what?
far.
I mean, what do you do if they break another law, right? Would you send them to? I mean, if you want to send them to prison over this, that'd be pretty fucking.
It would be different if it was a law for the native population, but it's not.
We deport people like
no. So what immigrants have to do when refugees would come to the country and they would apply if they apply for permanent legal status, they would
with other normal vaccines. Wait,
do they agree to that?
Marx is like confused some people.
By the virtue of like being like, hey, I want to be a permanent resident in the United States. That is
That's
part of the process of being
agreement. Yes, they should be deported. That's fair. If they agree to it and then they say, I don't want to get it when they get here, I think it makes sense. You would have to deport them because they've essentially signed a legal agreement to say, I will comply with the laws or the requirements on this list. And then if you refuse to go through with that, then you're breaking your terms of the agreement.
Okay, yeah, guys, so give each man some time, guys. Just
let each man,
because
I'm reading this from the CDC.gov website. What vaccines and boosters are required for immigrants and those applying for adjusted status in the United States? As part of the medical examination for immigration, all immigrants are required to have an assessment for the following vaccines for preventable diseases: mumps, measles, polio. So they have to have all these normal vaccines. I think people are confused.
I said refugees. That's why I made the distinction, not immigrants.
The top of medical examination for immigrants, refugees, and migrants.
Yeah, they have to they have to have a medical examination.
Medical examination
that doesn't mean that they have to be forced to treatment.
It does indicate that though.
Vaccines and boosters are required for immigration. That's what it says. Linking it again. I've linked it twice.
Refugees are not subject to the same rule as immigrants. They are two different statuses. Do you know that?
Look at the link. I've linked it twice.
I also put a link in VC chat from the CDC as well. I'm going to read the first paragraph just so everybody knows. Vaccination for refugees. Although refugees are not required to have vaccinations before arrival in the United States, CDC, in collaboration with the Department of State, this is just talking about, you can read it's on the thing, but this is talking about a program to encourage vaccination. But after the second paragraph, after 1 year in the U.S., refugees can apply for a change of status to that of legal permanent residence. At that time, they will be required to be fully vaccinated. So you're right if you want to apply to be a permanent resident, but for refugees, no, you're not forced to take vaccines. That's my point.
I believe the question though was, should that be changed? And the answer is yes.
That's what I asked.
Yeah.
100%. Absolutely. Right now for this, absolutely.
You have to, I don't know, would it be different? Do you think it's okay to mandate it for refugees but not for the native population?
Oh, well, I think we should have vaccine
what are you talking
mandates
about for the
anyways,
native population specifically?
As in Americans.
Like Native Americans?
No, as in Americans.
U.S. Americans.
Citizens.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I was very clear in same as Jason's Society that we want to have a mandate vaccine.
So, okay, I just want to check, because if it's different, then
I don't believe in treating them as second-class people. I think if we're going to do it to them, we should do it to us, too. And I do believe that we should mandate vaccines. So,
sure. I think that's kind of ridiculous to say, like, well, what if they don't want to follow? Like, if it is already the law, that's my, if it's already the law, this is a very big caveat. I don't think it's that crazy to be like, well, what if they don't want to do it? Do we really have to send them back? Like, I mean, we don't have another choice if they just don't want to follow it. But again, that's with the caveat that it's the law. So that's.
Okay. So my concern around this is just basically like you don't want to create like second ranked like citizens. Like if you have like people that are basically like immigrants like refugees that are coming to your place, you don't want to force or push them to have like a vaccination. That being said, if
yes,
you
I do.
That,
I do.
If you listen up.
If you want to be here,
no, I'm talking. So
if you want to be here in America, okay.
I'm talking. So if you basically have like a vaccine mandate around or like with your own people, that's totally fine, and then you can like extend it to people that immigrate to your own country. I think that's totally fine, but you don't make like second rank like citizens. I think that's like totally messed up.
Okay.
Wait, we have
all right.
people here on worker visas that don't have full citizenship. We have second-class citizens living in America. Anyone else?
Great. Great. Thanks. Anyway, to my audience, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate you coming through. Hit that follow button right now. Make sure notifications are on so you know I'm going live. I do 6 days a week. Don't want you to miss out on all the content. We'll be back tomorrow with more content. !social and chat. If you want to be connected with the larger franchise that we're trying to build here, follow us on Twitter for channel updates. Jump into our Discord. This is where we do all of our conversations. Everything happens on Discord. Offline, online, we have these conversations on Discord. Don't want you to miss out. So jump to our Discord and then subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's where you'll find the VODs. Right, the VODs will live there, not here. So subscribe, like, and comment there, and that will help us out a ton. So I'm going to send you guys off. What?
Prime, can I say something before you leave?
Do it very quickly, please.
Yes. So I want to say, if you are like right wing or left wing, I don't give a fuck. Like I will vote for Prime. I want people to join this show. So just go by your own name. Don't go by a fake name. Just be yourself, and I will drag you in, and you're happily to join this conversation. So I appreciate Prime for having this panel, and Prime is like a great like moderator, and he will accept everybody here. So please just be yourself. Don't be a faker.
He's wrong. Our borders are closed. No more immigrants. No more.
Excuse me, I'm here.
To Riverboat Jack, be kind to them, and we'll see you tomorrow. We'll do a thing. It'll be great. Bye. Be right back.
God, that was a pain.
That's cool.
I'm still alive.
Well, what you gonna do?
A lot of crazy shit was said.
So it wasn't that bad. I've seen
No, wait. No, Django, you missed stuff. Like, being vaccinated,
well, yeah, obviously I wasn't here for that.
Being unvaccinated is synonymous with murder. Being unvaccinated is
I had that debate yesterday.
You're guaranteed to kill someone if you go outside. We should be kicked offline if you don't have the
Was this why everyone was going hard on
Yes.
JJ?
Yes, and yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
What the guy beside Prime said that if you express any vaccine hesitancy, you should be blacklisted online, pretty much.
Yes. I mean, he'll agree to that. But to be fair, he said deplatformed off Twitter.
Yeah, blacklist online. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, are you spreading anti-vax propaganda, or are you
No,
just
no,
not
no.
getting
He said
vaccinated?
vaccine hesitancy.
Yeah, he said vaccine hesitancy. I was there for that one.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, like Nicki Minaj, what she done, that's spreading vaccine hesitancy, like Joe Rogan, for example.
I mean, he's best. I gotta give him that.
Joe Rogan just straight up spread horrible misinformation about all sorts of shit.
That was funny.
Like that's different. He is absolutely a clown.
Yeah.
What misinformation did he spread? Because y'all said I spread misinformation, but then nobody.
Relax, you're expressing that to everybody.
I'll let you go dig that up on your own time. You can look it up, but you know,
You said
Jesus
you
Christ.
guys, which was you were commenting directly to that guy, and then that kind of extrapolates to everybody.
No, it was. I think it was H9 and whoever the fuck that guy is beside Prime.
Sure, I'm
There's
just
two
saying.
people.
I'm just saying the words you use supposed to be
wasn't me.
different. That's all.
I didn't say everyone.
You said you guys, which implies everybody.
No, it
yeah.
doesn't.
Yes, it does.
Are we really going to have a
Yes,
debate
we're
over
gonna have an
semantics over
argument
who
over-
are attributing comments to?
Guys, mean?
Semantics.
What do you mean?
Let's get
I'm
that.
pretty sure it's plural, right? I
Applies
speak
every guy.
English is
Pretty
my
much
third
up to
language.
trolling now.
Oh, you don't think two people is plural? Maybe you should learn
Sure,
math.
two people is
Yeah,
plural.
maybe
I
I
would
should
not.
learn English.
I
is my
Oh,
would
third
fuck
language.
me, we're
I
really
would
getting
not
into the
look-
weeds now. Jesus
No, no,
Christ.
I'm just saying,
Breach GSU trolling.
I just wouldn't like look at it like my group of friends. I'd be like, you guys all treat me like shit. And they're like, what the fuck are you
That's
talking about? I'm like,
just
well, I just meant those two guys, not everybody here. Like, this is weird, man. That's just fucking weird.
It's not weird.
GSU,
It's improper use
Gambit,
of
you
English,
always
yeah.
bring a strong argument. You always bring an interesting perspective. And I really do hope that ultimately you do decide to get vaccinated because I care about you just like I care about everybody else. I understand you've got your reservations or your reasons, but I really hope that you think strongly about doing it.
I'll send you
pray
some
for your
British
help.
chocolate, some British sweets in there. I'll send you like a British care package if you get vaccinated, right?
The British
not
Gambit.
opposed
By the way, Gambit,
not
I'm
opposed
totally
to
with
needs
you.
to be convinced to engage with medicine.
But Gambit, I was just showing off the
Listen,
cameras.
take
I'm
the
totally
bribe,
with you.
take
I'm
the
not taking
bribe.
that fucking vaccine.
I got vaccinated.
Goddamn government.
I didn't.